Shri Gurucharitra Chapter 25. Shri Gurudeva Datta Parabrahmane Namaha. Self-praise by the greedy advocates of Veda. In the city of Vidura, Bidar, there lived a wicked, cruel Muslim king of degraded alien culture who was averse to Brahmins. He was hostile to Hindu religion and condemned Hindu traditions, gods, Vedas, and Brahmins in particular. The ferocious king used to trouble, in particular the Brahmins, in a distinctive manner. Under the threat of life, the helpless Brahmins were compelled to obey him. He had the malicious passions and scant respect for the sacred scriptures of Hindu religion. In fact, he made fun of them and enjoyed. He used to derive pleasure by refuting, abusing the scriptures, and harassing the Brahmins. It was his habit to pressurize the Brahmins to recite Vedas and make arguments in the matter of scriptures at his palace and hurt them. He used to tempt those Brahmin scholars, learned ones in scriptures, by offering bounty and felicitating them with an ulterior motive, pretending to be a lover of Hindu scriptures and a humble man. Inducing the Brahmins with the offer of prizes, he was making fool of them. He declared that he would worship those Brahmins who were recognized by scholars, learned ones, as the best and offer them fees to their satisfaction and honor them. But his honoring felicitation act was endowed with evil design. This way he was making a ground for recitation of Vedas and arguments and discussion in the said matter. By this kind of behavior, he was abusing Hindus and their religion. Some of the ignorant, stupid ones from the Brahmin community were mesmerized by the king's offerings. With a greed for money and wealth, they were in the run to come to the king's palace and make the king happy by reciting Vedas and scriptures. The king, who was alien to Brahmins, along with the people from his religion, used to criticize and refute the fire sacrificial rites practiced by Hindus and also their other religious practices, philosophy, and get rejoiced. But the knowledgeable Brahmins did not become a prey to his trap and remained non aligned. Those greedy scholars who were not aware of the king's secret design, guided by motive of yearning for money, name, and fame, were becoming victims of his conspiracy. Some of the ignorant, greedy, the so-called learned Brahmins visited his palace to recite Vedas in return for money, gifts, and honor. This practice was going on for some time. After listening to the discussions on the subject of fire sacrificial rituals, he was ridiculing Hindus in the matter of animal sacrifice by them. He used to say in the gathering that the so called Brahmins who plead for non violence themselves were offering live animals in fire rituals while branding other religious people as the killers of animals, terming them non vegetarians, and criticize them. Once, from the mid-region of northern side of his kingdom, the so-called well-versed, greedy and arrogant two Brahmins arrived at the royal court and indulged in self-praise and claimed to be the scholars in the matter of Vedas and scriptures. They suggested to the king to invite the worthy, competent Brahmin scholars from around his kingdom for arguments and debate on the subject of scriptures and Vedas. Accordingly, the vainglorious king sent invitations to the Brahmins in and around the area for making arguments with the guest Brahmins. He allowed them by declaring that he would award the winner suitably in the form of wealth and also accord due princely honor. But the knowledgeable, enlightened Brahmins and the pious ones, who were proud of Hindu religion and scriptures, declared that the king could honor those two Brahmins who were really best among the scholars, as they were the only ones who deserved to be honored. The Mohammedan king facilitated those two arrogant, conceited Brahmins with money, clothes, ornaments, certificates, and other things. The king also arranged for their elephant ride, took them in procession, and brought their name into limelight. Those proud, intoxicant, ignorant Brahmins who this way went on disregarding other Brahmins turned fanatics. They felt that they were the jewels amongst the other learned Brahmins. Once those two Brahmins approached the king and pleaded thus: "Hey, the great king, it appears that in your entire kingdom there are no scholarly Brahmins who can match our competence. It seems no one here has the merit of defeating us in the matter of argument and debate. We feel that we have made a mistake by coming to your kingdom and that our learning has become futile. Therefore, we intend to move around other parts of the kingdom and argue, debate with competent Brahmins if we come across any. If we find none to be competent, then you must accord a warm send off to us by awarding prizes together with the certificate of victory. Kindly permit us to move around your kingdom." The king honored their request and permitted them to travel across the kingdom for the accomplishment of their mission. They moved around all the places of that kingdom. Even then, they could not meet even a single Brahmin who was competent enough to enter into an argument and debate with them. The two ignorant, arrogant, and self styled scholar Brahmins went on procuring certificates of victory from other Brahmins by defeating them. Pride ridden, those two so called scholar Brahmins were freely moving from place to place in search of learned ones. Even the Muslim ruler used to please them by awarding prizes with a view to disgracing the Hindu religion. Thus, while traveling across the kingdom, those two arrogant Brahmins reached a village by name Kumasi, which was located on the banks of river Krishna. There they heard about Trivikram Bharati, an ascetic and scholar in Vedas who was a resident of that village. Those two Brahmins left for that ascetic's hermitage with a view to making argument with him, who was a Vedic scholar. They met him and started boasting about their scholarship before him. Afterwards, they invited him for making arguments and debating. They boasted before him thus: "Hey ascetic Trivikram Bharati, should we be defeated in arguments, we shall give a certificate of victory to you. On the contrary, if you are defeated by us in arguments, you shall give us certificate of victory. We have come here to meet you after learning that you are a renowned scholar who has the ability of making arguments. Therefore, you get ready for arguments and debate." Thus, they invited the ascetic for arguments. Then Trivikram Bharati, with all humility, said: "Hey learned Brahmins, as you have presumed, I am not a Vedic scholar. I am a man of scant knowledge. I do not know anything about religious scriptures. Even I do not know one Veda completely, let alone knowing all Vedas. Essentially, I am an ascetic engrossed in penance. I do not have the merit to make arguments in the matter of Vedas and scriptures. Since, as per your saying, you are the great scholars in Vedas and scriptures, what is the need for you to make arguments with a person like me who has very little knowledge? By making arguments, discussions with me, you will not be benefited in any way. It is not prudent that you should enter into arguments with me." The highly considered those two self-styled scholars said: "Hey the ascetic, so far we have been traveling across the whole kingdom. We have defeated everyone and obtained victory certificates from them." Even though Trivikram Bharati tried his level best to convince the arrogant ones, they had no patience to listen to him. Then Trivikram Bharati thought in his mind thus: "These two Brahmins are not enlightened ones, but only bookish scholars. Their knowledge serves only the purpose of worldly people for living. I should take these two Brahmins, who are the enemies of our religion, to my Guru Shri Narsingh Saraswati of Gangapur and teach them a right lesson. So far they have been disgracing Hindu religion and Brahmins. Henceforth there should be an end to this type of mentality. They should be taught a proper lesson." Later, addressing them, Trivikram Bharati said: "O scholar Brahmins, my most revered preceptor is living at Gangapur. It is better that your views be brought to his notice. Suppose he agrees for arguments and debates, and if I am defeated, it shall be proper on my part to confer you the certificate of victory. I shall fulfill your desire then and there only. Those two stupid Brahmins accepted his suggestion. This way, thoughtful Trivikram Bharati started towards Gangapur along with them. Those foolish, ignorant scholar Brahmins who were sitting in palanquin were following the ascetic Trivikram Bharati, who was travelling on foot. By doing so, their longevity was shortened. After travelling for some time, they reached Gangapur, the seat of preceptor Sri Narsingh Saraswati. Trivikram Bharati caught hold of the feet of Sri Guruji affectionately and, through his tears, spread the Guru Padukas. In a choked voice, he eulogized Sri Guruji. Pleased by his eulogized verses, Sri Guruji embraced him and wished him. At that moment, Trivikram Bharati experienced eternal bliss. Sri Guruji learnt everything about those two stupid Brahmins from ascetic Trivikram Bharati. Trivikram Bharati told Guruji thus, O my venerable master, I do not know what to do with these two Brahmin pleaders of Vedas. Yourself, the best amongst the preceptors only, have the merit of solving this issue. Thus he pleaded. Though Guruji had learnt everything about those two Brahmins from the mouth of Trivikram Bharati, he wanted to know the facts from the mouths of those two Brahmins. Hence, he told Trivikram Bharati to bring them to him. As per Sri Guruji's instructions, the ascetic Trivikram Bharati took those two Brahmins close to Guruji. Then Sri Guruji started speaking to those two Brahmins in the following manner. O Brahmins, what is your intention in making arguments and debates with reference to Vedas, which are eternal scriptures? What are you going to achieve by making arguments? By reading Vedas, discussions, debates, and arguments, one cannot attain stability in spirituality. I, being an ascetic, am always engrossed in penance. All duels like honor and dishonor, victory and defeat, gain and loss, happiness and misery are equal to me. By defeating one in arguments and procuring the victory certificates, what supreme values of life are you going to achieve? He questioned them. Sri Guruji's words had no impact on those stupid Brahmins. Those adamant, offensive, egoistic minded Brahmins, assuming Guruji to be a common learned man, replied thus: Hey the Master, we are highly learned Brahmins. We are well versed in Vedas and scriptures. Even though we have moved around the kingdom, we could not find even one competent person who has the merit to make arguments with us. All of them have accepted defeat and given the certificates of victory. We have been honored by the King of Kings and been awarded. Thus saying, they exhibited the certificates collected by them from different places to Shri Guruji. While we were moving in search of competent people for arguments, we came across this sage Trivikram Bharati, who is recognized as scholar. Even he was hesitant and scared of making arguments with us. When we suggested him to argue with us, he became angry without any reason and brought us to you, saying that he would arrange for giving right answer to our questions. Therefore, we are inviting you to exhibit your scholarship before us. Shri Guruji, referring to those foolish Brahmins, said thus: Hey the learned ones, pride becomes the root cause of total degradation. Therefore, one should shun it away at any cost. On the strength of little knowledge they have, the Brahmins should not deliberate the way they like. The knowledge acquired by you is not perfect. One can bewilder others by the skill of vocabulary, but from that, self-betterment is not achieved. Even the sage like Bharadwaj, who studied Vedas for a pretty long period, could not complete this learning. Come out of your delirious state and think twice. Then only you come for arguments. Thus he advised them. The advice given by Sri Guruji did not serve any purpose. Their mind was not settled. The conceited Brahmins failed to appreciate the advice of Sri Guruji. Instead, they continued with their arguments in an arrogant manner. To prove their authority, they spoke before Sri Guruji in an impertinent manner. Then Sri Guruji, who is fountainhead of all Vedas and scriptures, elaborated Vedas in detail right from the beginning till the end. Here ends the 25th chapter in the most auspicious Shri Gurucharitra. Shri Gurudev Datta Shri Guru Dattatreya Arpanamastu.